I've set up today's workshop with my PowerPoint specifically for Zoom. So it depends on your particular device that you're using. Um, but I know one thing I struggle with Zoom is trying to figure out where am I going to put my chat box. It's sitting in the middle of sometimes it's sitting right in the middle of the slide. So I've created a spot for you to put your video and a spot in green there for you to put your chat box. And so that we're able to have those located without kind of interfering with our ability to see the slideshow itself. So now if you're on a iPhone or something, it might look different. Everybody's computer is different, so just situate it as best need. Maybe this arrangement doesn't work for yours, but every slide will be consistent in that orange and green box will be in the same spot, so you don't have to sit there moving around your chat box and everything to see what's going on. And there's some directions on this first slide how to get there if you're confused. And also, please, in the chat box now, if you could type in, what was the first concert you ever went to? Or can you just write a song that makes you happy? This song makes me happy. Can you write a song that makes you happy and include the artist in there? Or what was the first concert you went to? Either one of those is fine. Wow, we just kind of listen to a little Withers.
And Tom, for attendance purposes, we are going to have everyone put in their name with their organization.
Great, thank you, Melissa. By the way, everybody, Melissa is going to be my amazing co-host today. I'm so excited. I love working with Melissa. This is the first time we've actually worked together on a workshop specifically, and it's very exciting for me to have that moment with Melissa. So thank you. All right. So let's see. Just gotta scroll down my chat box here to see what's going on. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. We got Don Henley. Ooh, Rick Springfield. Purple Rain. Yes. The Wallflowers. Stand Out. Nice. Here's somebody's first concert, or was this a first concert or first album? Right? Ooh, a little Purple Rain action. When Doves Cry. Ooh, Guns N' Roses, Metallica. Okay. Rick Springfield. Ooh, we got a lot of 80s. This is great. This is my jam right here with the 80s. Nice. Okay, so we'll keep listening to the music while we just go into this slide a little. So this is building teams and relationships remotely. This is today's workshop. Again, thank you so much for being here. I am your host, Tom Armstrong, Senior Director of Programming at the Leadership Program. And yeah, I started out as a teaching artist about 13 years ago at the Leadership Program and site coordinator, doing a lot of stuff with 21st Century for the past 10 years, full time, and now the Senior Director of Programming. So that's kind of my history. All right, now I'm gonna have to turn off Prince. Thank you very much. Let's see, who gave us Prince there? Someone gave us Prince. I gotta find that spot. Purple Rain came from
Cooper.
Thank you, Melissa. You see, that's how Melissa and I are going to be working together today, very organically. So thank you. So essential question for today. How can we build and maintain team relationships with a focus on, this is in parentheses, with a focus on the 21st century advisory team using remote learning tools? And Melissa, can you read the quote for me?
Even a brief interaction can change the way people think about themselves, their leaders, and the future. Each of those many connections you make has the potential to become a high point or a low point in someone's day, by Douglas Cummings.
Thank you. Either in the chat box, but you can also just take yourself off mute if you'd like to speak on that. Does anybody have any thoughts on that quote about brief interactions can change the way people think about themselves, their leaders, and their future?
This is Vivian. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Vivian.
Hi, Vivi.
One of the things that I'm that's thinking about in terms of our family is, we run our programs in a school, so we have teachers reaching out to parents, we have the administrators reaching out to parents, we also have our folks in the after school program reaching out to parents. And so, sometimes I hesitate to reach out to them, but I realize that when they pick up the phone, even though I might have represented the third or the fourth call, they appreciate it. And the conversation with, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I really appreciate it, Vivian. Which means that I might not have resolved an issue, but they are hearing that people are caring for them, that someone is just reaching out. And I think that for the most part, I'm hearing that positive feedback.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Yeah, and what you said connects so well to this workshop, actually, in that it's those brief interactions and the way that, because you could make that phone call and just get right to business, but are you taking a moment to build a relationship? And that moment when you're building the relationship with a parent is something that they really greatly appreciate, and at a time when they're actually probably getting flooded with calls about all kinds of minutia. And so, Vivian, yeah, you're playing a really important role in terms of building community by taking that moment to also check in with someone and see how they're doing and making that brief interaction meaningful. And that's really a key thing that we're talking about today. I'm going to go to the next slide. Today, by the way, I want to spend as much time as possible in the meat, right? Like but there's a little bit of theory I want to get in front of it just so that we're all on the same page about why we're even doing this workshop. So there's this question, why take precious time? Because what Vivian just described, for example, she's taken a moment in that conversation to check in with a parent before maybe getting to, hey, I haven't seen your child coming into our after school program. You kind of take that time to build relationships. Also, when we're in our QSA meetings or holding these meetings at our schools, why do we take precious time to do icebreakers, warm-ups, and team building? Why is this important to make time for that in the meetings that we have at the school and with our team?
Help people connect.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. So to help people connect, yep.
To get a
Take
temperament
of. Sorry, Joanna. Go ahead.
To get a temperament of where we are, right? You want to run right into an activity, and there may be some heavy hearts that needed to be addressed before that.
Yeah, and then I also see some folks shaking their heads there with that, agreeing. Yeah, you jump right in, but we haven't checked in to see how people are doing emotionally, and we are going to do some of that today. I see Carolyn says connection and relationships come before learning and information. Perfectly said. That's the quote I should have had at the start of this. I'm going to take that, and then the next time I do a workshop like this, I'm just going to quote Carolyn Cooper as saying, connection and relationships come before learning and information, because I think that sums it up beautifully. Thank you. Kim also says, one of the best things I observed on our virtual platform was the smiles on the faces of our students and our staff when they first connected virtually. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to read every chat, by the way, because Melissa and I will do our best to kind of read them out loud, but you can also just on your own pay attention to what's going in the chat room. I understand that for the viewers, you participants, you guys can do both effectively. Okay, moving on. So the first kind of thing with, I just want to mention, because we're going to look at different we're diving now into the functionality of Zoom and how we can sort of use it to build relationships. And the first thing that you can use in Zoom is polls. And as a host, you can go in, set up a poll and run a poll. We're not going to do polls right now, partly because I don't have the capability as the co-host right now because of the way this is set up for this particular meeting. But also, I don't really find polls to be the best way to gather information that's in a way that's going to build relationships. It can, but I find there's other ways. So we're going to dive into what those are. The whiteboard. So the whiteboard is one way that I have found I can really effectively create a feeling of connection with folks quickly. So we're going to dive into using the whiteboard, and I'm going to do some activities on the whiteboard with you now that will be for that purpose. So here's some directions for it. And also in a moment, this is the path I need to follow. Side note, you will be sent, I shared the document that has all of these activities we're going to do today with explanations for how to do them and the logistical part of it, like technology, how to make Zoom work with these things. I didn't go through each technology platform, but you could just Google that pretty easily. So this is this is specifically how to do it on Zoom, considering our time constraints today. So as a host in Zoom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share, then I'm going to click on whiteboard, and then I'm going to click on share. That's my path to get to the whiteboard. You guys aren't going to do that here, but I'm going to do that. So I'm just sharing that with you since you will be the host. So I'm clicking on new share for me right now, whiteboard, share, and now y'all should see a whiteboard, right? So I am going to ask Melissa. Yeah, thank you, Melissa. In the chat box, nice. Ooh, we are gelling. You can see in the chat box there, she put in the directions for how you can start drawing. You can actually, you just put a little mark on it, a brief mark. Don't go too crazy yet because I actually do have an activity we're going to do with it. But you go to the view options at the very top of your screen, click on the little arrow, the little up-facing arrow for the drop-down menu, and choose annotate. Unless there's a different path where you can see annotate easier. Yeah, I see some people drawing. So you're going to pick text, stamp, or draw, and just make a tiny note right now because we're going to do you just kind of get used to it for a second. Nice. I also found that my arrow as the host, just a side note on a meta side, my mouse has disappeared on me before, and I know that's a common thing. So you have to kind of go over and find the mouse option if it disappears, if your cursor, disappears on your screen, because that can be weird. So, yep, lots of stamps. Everybody's drawing. Okay, I'm going to clear what we just did. I'm going to clear it. So if everybody can stop drawing for a moment. Oop, clear that one. Okay, so now choose your stamp or whatever. Also in the format, you'll see you can choose a color. Select a color that describes your mood right now. I want you just to find one that describes kind of your emotional state. I'm not going to tell you what that is. Yellow for you might mean sad. Like that's up to you to decide. But go ahead and choose a format. In format, choose the color. And then under draw, you can choose any of the options. And we're going to create a mural together. And on the mural, we can either draw words or just a shape that describes your feeling about your program at this particular moment. Your feeling about your programming at this particular moment. Be abstract or whatever it is, and then we'll see how everybody's kind of feeling overall about their after school programs or whatever it is you're doing through 21st century at this moment in time. And then we can just watch this thing evolve. I'm good. We're seeing some words. I see arrows going everywhere. See a bunch of happy faces. One kind of, maybe that's a slightly sad face. Some hearts. A+, peace and empowerment. One love. Yeah. So this is one option as we draw it. This is one option that we have to get a sense collectively with our group. So if this was an advisory meeting with 2 students, 3 students, however many students, some parents, your principal, and your program manager, whoever it is, it's a way of collecting data for you. And it's also a way for people to bond that I find more it has more humanity than the poll. And what I'm trying to do is find any way that I can increase the humanity of my meetings, some feeling of bonding that comes from our meetings. So we've done a nice mural. Let's maybe just for a second, grab some of the larger, see if you can find a little bit of a larger marker, go ahead and draw, just, you can make it even a little more detailed. It will still include what's happened underneath it. Okay. So then I have an option to save this mural, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to give everybody about 3 seconds more to draw. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now in the chat box, if you can type what you see, like what's your interpretation of this mural? Let us all know what your interpretation is. What are you seeing either emotionally or factually? Love, energy from Laura and Melissa, growth. Yeah, there are these different words that are not necessarily just from our own observations, but now observing everybody else's feedback. Direction, happiness, diversity and emotions, busy, a smidge of chaos. Yeah, hope and love, a lot of moving parts, variety of moods, but a lot of optimism. Unity, yeah. So again, this is a quick warm-up exercise you can do with a group. It can last 5 minutes, but it gives us a sense of where everybody else is in a way that's playing with our creativity and connects us to our emotions as individuals and also as a group. So I'm gonna save this mural. Okay, and I'm gonna clear all drawings. So I can do that as a host. Now I'm gonna go, just to show a different way of doing the same thing. I'm going back to the presentation. Now everybody should see the presentation. And, oh, I'm starting to see some new annotations. So let's see. I have to clear that because if I don't, it'll stay on every slide if people are annotating still. So I, as the host, can always delete other people's drawings. So I just did that. Okay. Again, this is for non-hosts in Zoom, how you get there. We already did that. So we just did the group mural. I'm going to do an activity called Mood Meter now. So Mood Meter is, but I'm going to do this in a slide. So a second ago, I went to the whiteboard, but for this, I'm going to do the same activity in just a slide on my PowerPoint presentation, just to show you there's another way of doing the same thing. And here, you should still be able to go up and click on Annotate. Don't draw anything yet, because I'm going to create a mood meter on this slide in real time. So here we have a X and Y axis. At the top one, I'm putting high energy. The lower one, I'm putting low energy. Folks, many of you will already know what a mood meter is, but not everybody does. So we're going to do this exercise together. And then this is very pleasant. This is over here is very unpleasant. So I just went in as the host, I just typed those in just like you found you could do. Now what I'm going to ask you to do is grab a stamp, if you can do that, and you can use an X or a check box or whatever you like, but I want you to put yourself where you are on this spectrum. If you're very pleasant and high energy, that means you're super happy. If you're low energy, very pleasant, you might be meditative. If you're very unpleasant and high energy, you might be angry. And if you're low energy, very unpleasant, that's more in a depressed mode. These are, I can't see who's doing what, so it's unanimous. But it gives me a sense of where everybody is.
Tom,
Yes.
just wanted to check in that you were okay. I got a note saying that you needed some help. But it looks
No,
like
Jorge.
you're good to go.
I think I'm all good. Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank
Excellent.
you. Now, someone might have said, I think this guy needs some help. So I'll just let that, that's not going to change my mood though. Okay, so that's the mood meter. You get a sense, it looks like we have somebody who's a little, one of us is like a little bit on the more unpleasant and low energy. A lot of folks on low energy, but towards in the more pleasant zone. And then you can see the bulk are kind of in this higher energy, more pleasant state of mind. One thing I love about the mood meter and that it's anonymous is that I'm able to, oh, that's funny. Thank you, Joanne. Is that I'm able to see the group, and also individuals are able to see in the group where they stand in terms of relative to everyone else. It just gives a sense of how the group is and where I am in the group as well. So the same thing could be, you could ask similar questions. It doesn't have to be these particular questions. Okay, so we're gonna move on. That's mood meter. I'm going to just clear this one. Okay. Another thing that we can do similarly, but now with the same thing with the whiteboard idea, I'm going to use the blank slide again, is I'm going to do a spectrogram. And with spectrogram, I only use one line. And usually when we're live, we do this by having people stand in the room, and you position yourself in the room based on one side of the room means agree, and the other side of the room is disagree. And then wherever in the room I position myself, like if I'm halfway, if I'm like, I don't really have an opinion on it, I just put myself in the middle of the room. But if I kind of agree, I put myself towards the agree. And if I'm extremely agree, I put myself way on that side. So this is another way just to warm people up and get them kind of checking in to see where they stand, but now not necessarily in mood, but on their opinions on things. So we're going to do a quick spectrogram together, same thing, but now on this line, and I'm just going to ask some quick questions. I'm going to make a statement, sorry. And I'm going to start, since I'm doing this relationship building, I'm not going to go really high risk here. My thing is I'm just asking questions where I'm going to learn a little bit about the team, and we're going to learn a little bit about each other. So my first statement is, I love pizza. So if you agree strongly, go all the way to the right. If you disagree strongly, go all the way to the left. I love pizza. But if you are somewhere in the middle, you can just go like, I mostly like pizza. A lot of pizza fans. I see someone putting way up on the upper right-hand side. That means extreme pizza. Okay. So now I'm going to clear this. I'm going to clear viewers' drawings. Oh, that's my little, you can see where I stand on pizza. And, uh-oh. So I can't clear my own drawing on that, but that's just going to be where that stays. Next statement, sports are important to me. Sports are important to me. Where do you stand on sports? Cool. Okay. I'm going to clear viewers' drawings again. Next statement, I believe I am a good cook. I believe I am a good cook. Nice. Okay. Next statement, this is going to be the highest sort of risk statement I'm going to make today, but also knowing, hey, buddy, knowing that that it's unanimous again, but I'm going to clear all drawings. Oh, I just cleared my own, so I'm just going to redraw my line. Again, disagree to the right, agree to the left. I feel more connected now to this group than I did when I first entered the breakout room. I feel more connected now than I did when I first entered the breakout room. So yeah, a lot of people kind of neutral, and some folks way onto the agree. We got a spectrum there right now, pretty much neutral to agree. So that's good for me to know in terms of my facilitation too. Like, you know, there's kind of a neutral thing. A lot of us don't know each other, and how connected are we? I get a sense of that, and I think we all do. So thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm going to clear all drawings now, and we're going to move on. I'm going to close out my annotation. I'm going to ask everybody, please, now not to draw anymore, although it's super fun. And the next is the breakout room. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention. Yeah, so that's group mural, mood meter, and spectrogram. a really cool activity as well as Pictionary. We're not going to do Pictionary now. It's just an idea. I'm throwing it out there, and you can always Google, how do you do Pictionary? It's kind of self-explanatory, and then folks can also do Pictionary using the whiteboard, or anything else you can dream up. So let's see. Oh yeah, Laura says it's fun. They've done it with Pictionary. That's awesome. Thank you. So the breakout room. Melissa says agreed. We can't do a breakout room today because, again, because I'm a co-host, I'm not able to do, and we're in a breakout room, I can't do a sub breakout room. But I did want to share one idea for this is a little more higher stakes than the activities we did so far with the whiteboard. And the breakout room challenge that I have is that, you set up a breakout room, folks go into it. You could have just people in pairs randomly or in groups of 3 or something, depending on the size of your team. Before you go in the breakout room, you would just ask people to write 3 qualities that make an effective team, or write 3 things they're proud of for the school year, and that kind of thing. Have them turn that into a chant or poem once you put them in a breakout room. And you'll notice from, earlier when we were doing happy birthdays, if we all try to sing happy birthday right now, it wouldn't really work because Zoom has this like time delay between all of us. There's really no way to sync well. So it's good to have one person do if they do a chant, if they do create a chant from the words that they all have, that person should, sorry, I have to clear all drawings. Only one person should perform it. So one way to reduce that risk, because it's a little scary to be the one person doing the chant everybody just did together, is to make it a poem or something that's a little soft. It's fine, Gerard, thank you. So that's just a thought regarding that idea. Does anybody have any input or ideas that they also use when it comes to a breakout room challenge beyond this idea? We've done a bunch of them at Leadership. Students and staff in our virtual program love breakout room projects. Yeah, you can do all kinds of projects that way. Cool, yeah. Another kind of fun breakout room challenge is beforehand, you can have people, do a dance party, and you have folks that aren't in the dance party turn off their videos, and you do a competition that way. Yeah, iPads make it complicated, Joanne. Nice. Okay. So in the interest of time, let's move on. It's kind of fun. People are putting in I don't mind the little bits of art that show up occasionally in the screen. So ideas for the main room. There's 2 different types of activities that I'm going to talk about for the main room. One is simple and the other is complex. So the simple ones, these are just when you're in the main room, some activities you could do right away. Rose and Thorns, I think almost everybody here probably knows Rose and Thorns, but just as a quick description of what it is, you just have participants say one thing that went well and one thing that didn't go well today, this week, whatever, or related to activities. But again, because this is about relationship building at the beginning, I wouldn't make it about the work. I would just say, what's one rose and one thorn? And they can say, well, one rose is that my dog has been, feels better today. It was feeling sick. Yes, whatever it's going to be, but something personal is really what helps to build the relationship more than tell me one rose and one thorn from your work, because that's going to be information gathering for you as the director, but it's not as meaningful in terms of building relationships for the people that you're speaking with. So it's checking in with them personally if you can, rose and thorns. 2 truths and 1 lie, quick activity, but it could take a little bit longer than rose and thorns. Someone says 2 truths and 1 lie. That's 3 statements they make. 2 of them are true, 1's a lie. Everybody else in the chat box guesses which is which one is the lie. One thing you don't know about me, pretty self-explanatory, just at the beginning. If you only have like 3 minutes for a warm-up, could be, can you just tell me one thing that we don't know about you? And they could either say it out loud or put it in the chat. And the last one for this would be your secret hobby. what is one hobby that you have that no one knows, right? So those are just really quick ways, if your time is truly pressed, where you can still do a check-in and build a sense of team at the very start of a meeting that might take 5 minutes or very simple. So in the main room, ooh, how's everybody doing? You know what, it's 12:16. Before we get into this next slide, I'm gonna have everybody, because we're just looking at Zoom for so long, I'm gonna ask everybody to take 20 seconds. It's just gonna be 20 seconds to look away from your screen. You can get up, shake your body out, whatever it is you wanna do. Just make sure you're not looking at your screen for 20 seconds. And then I'll call everybody else back. I'll call everybody back, okay? So just for 20 seconds, starting now. All right. Ooh. That wasn't a lot of time, but it helps to reset the brain. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I needed it.
Yeah, that was good. Tom, just to let you know, we have 14 minutes, okay?
Great, thank you. Yeah, and actually what I just did is a practice that I do, and it doesn't matter what the meeting is. 20 seconds is pretty simple. It's something called 20-20-20, just a side note. For 20 seconds, you can stare at something 20 feet away. And if you practice that every 20 minutes, Joanne peaked. So if you do that every 20 minutes, just commit 20 seconds to looking away from your screen. It could be healthy. And if you build that into your workshops on Zoom, it definitely does what I think it just did for us all, which is to help kind of go, oh, I'm reset. I'm ready to go again for another 20.
And Tom,
So
I hate to stop you real quick. I just wanted to make
yeah.
sure everyone understands, for attendance purposes, I need names and organization in the chat box. So we can say that you were present for this workshop as well as for certificates, okay? Thanks, everyone.
By the way, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me to do this workshop. Melissa, one thing that I'm really excited about, it's the first time I've worn a blazer in 3 months. So it gave me an excuse to put on my actual, it's a little hot, but anyway, okay. So those are just some simple ones. Let's do some, we're gonna get back to doing one of these together. In the main room, complex options are, these take more time. Name that tune, which we're gonna do together. Guess who I am, and one word story. I'm gonna describe the three of them, and then we're gonna do one of these together. So the one we're gonna do together is name that tune. So I'm gonna skip ahead to guess who I am. Guess who I am is an activity where, and again, I don't like slides. You can tell my slides are super simple. That's how I prefer to do slides. All of this is described very clearly in a document that will go out to you that I've already shared with NICED that describes everything that we're talking about in this workshop beyond just this PowerPoint. So guess who I am. For guess who I am, you have all your participants send you an email saying 3 things about them. And it could be that you give them prompts like one thing you love to eat, one thing you want to be in 5 years, or whatever it is, or just 3 things that we don't know about you, or however you want to put it. You give them 3 prompts and they send you those emails. Then you look at your email, you read the prompts, you read the answers, but you don't say who sent it. And then the participants guess who the person is. This doesn't work for us right now, obviously, because we don't know each other. It's our first time for most of us getting to know each other at all. So it'd be something maybe for the 2nd or 3rd meeting, but it gives people a chance to kind of go, you share something about each other, but you also show, oh, I can guess who that person is. It works, especially with these QSAs where there's only going to be like 8 people in a meeting. 40 people, it's a lot more difficult, but with a smaller group, you can go through it, and it just builds that sense of knowledge and understanding of each other, which is so key to having an effective team. If I know something about my principal other than how I engage with them day to day, it helps me to build that relationship, and that relationship helps us all to get results. So the more I know about someone, the more I can be effective with them. So Guess Who I Am helps to do that, and it builds that humanity in the meeting as well. One word story, which is something we'll also do in a moment, is that we'll create in the chat box one word story, and I'll call out your names in order to do that. So we're going to do Name That Tune and one word story. We only have 9 minutes. So I definitely want to do Name That Tune because it's the most complex and I think one of the most rewarding. So at Name That Tune, what I have done, a lot of you won't have the benefit of this, but I have the benefit of having Melissa on my team, and she sent me, I'm going to ask everybody not to scroll up. She sent me a list of all the artists that people wrote in earlier. And I'm going into iTunes, and I can share the songs with you all. And I'm going to, sorry, I'm doing this while I'm talking. I tried not to have Melissa help me too much because in reality, you probably won't have a helper. But here is a song. I'm going to play the song. As soon as you know the artist and the name of the song, put it in the chat box to see who can guess this the quickest. Here's our first song. Tonight, I'm gonna have myself artist and song. Queen, that is correct. What is the song title? It is Queen. It's not We Are the Champions. Oh, it's hard. There's the song title right there. Don't Stop Me Now. All right, Justin, you're the first to get that one in. Nice. All right. One thing I'm trying to...
Can you guys just humor me for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to move my... Do you see Freddie Mercury there on my wall?
Oh, awesome.
See Freddie Mercury on my wall there? Okay. Oh, that was me.
Nice. One thing I'm also going to want to do when I'm doing this activity, I might do one more. We got Don't Stop Me Now. I'm going to try one more. But keep in mind, I'm going to try to be sensitive to the fact that I don't want to just stay in the era that, like my era was the 80s. If I just stay in that era, I'm leaving out all the people that maybe were born in the 2000s. So I need to think also as the person doing this about being diverse and inclusive in terms of the era, types of music. I don't just want to do the music I grew up listening to. That's not going to help build team. I need to be very inclusive of all, and also try to pick songs where I know they're not going to be coming in with some inappropriate words. So with that in mind,
Tom, are there any tips for making the music sound for great quality?
So basically, and it does, look at the document. Thank you, Melissa. If you look at the document that I shared with you, or that will be shared with you, it describes how to share music on your computer instead of a screen, or to do it at the same time that you're sharing your screen. So I'm not going to describe it now in the interest of time, but if you look at that document, that's the best way to share quality sound, where it comes out sounding pretty clear on people's devices. And I'm going to move on because, but I do want to ask this. So Vivian, how did everybody feel, when Vivian took a moment and shared Freddie Mercury on her screen? Can you put in the chat box how that made you feel in that moment? You loved it, says Laura. I myself, I felt connected. Yeah, connected. Everybody's saying connected. That's what we're trying to go for. She's loving to learn about everybody. She felt more connected. I definitely felt so much more connected to you, Vivian, because you took a moment to go, oh, look, this is about me. I've seen that happen every time you talk about, the first concert someone went to, maybe someone else went to the same concert or whatever, or they talk about an artist they love, and you could just dive into, why is Freddie Mercury so important? Why does that resonate with you? It gives so many avenues to connect in a way that's not connected to the work itself directly, but builds the relationships that help us be better at our jobs. So this is actually, music, I think, is the best way to do that. And that was kind of a really great moment that you did that, Vivian, because it helped us all to feel that connection to you. And if I kept playing songs, we would get more and more of that excitement. And then when we go into our meeting, we kind of know each other better. So that's just a key thing. One word story. Oh, I have 4 minutes. One word story I'm just going to describe. We could do it together, but you'll get it. I just call one of you, I would say like, you know, I would call one of you like, Joanne, can you start our sentence off? And then she would type in the one word that starts a sentence. So Joanne, can you put that in the chat box? Just any random word to start our sentence. Oh, today. Yeah. So then I would call on someone else. Let's just say Melissa for the interest of time. You know, Melissa, can you put the second word of that sentence? Today, and we can continue with that. And we could say, let's guide this towards some content specifically, or just let it go as it goes. So, okay, again, I got to move forward. We have like 3 minutes left. I want to hear your ideas. You can either say it out loud or put it in the chat box. What are some ways that you build relationships with your teams? And especially we're looking at the QSA when we're having those like 4 meetings we have in the year. How can we build those relationships with people in those teams rather than just getting right to the nitty-gritty? Yep, icebreakers, Zoom survey function. Find common interests. Yeah, any way that you can find a commonality in terms of people's interests. Wellness calls. How are you doing? And Vivian, I think maybe that even means outside of the meeting doing wellness calls, right? Show and tell. Yep. That's a nice thing about being home is people can like show something important to them and talk about it. Ask questions based on what I see around them. Appreciations to end the meeting. Yeah, BRB, read or show something and people type what resonates with them into the chat. Yeah, these are all great ideas. Okay, with 2 minutes left, I did also want to say, I know with my QSAs, almost everyone I attend, we want to be super efficient. And that's why a lot of times we don't do these sorts of activities when we're starting something because we don't have a lot of time. But there's this battle that efficiency has with effectiveness. And sometimes we confuse them. We think they're both the same thing. But to be effective, sometimes I need to feel inefficient for a moment. Take some time to like say hello, create a bridge between me and the people I'm communicating and working with. That makes us more effective. But sometimes we just think, I'm going to be super efficient, just going to jump right into it, but then I'm not as effective as a result. So I just wanted to mention that, not to confuse efficiency with effectiveness. Yeah, personal conversations to relate with job responsibilities. 1 minute left to just say thank you, everybody. This was so much fun for me. It's just an honor to be asked to hang out with you for 45 minutes. And wow, we did it. We clocked in right at the last minute. You're very welcome, Kim. Yes, thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Phil. This was really fun. All right, I think we're going to be bounced out of this in a moment, but yeah, again, thank you so much, everybody. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, I tried to spend as much of this meeting as I could looking at the camera rather than my slideshow. Just another thing that you could think of in terms of building a connection with folks. By looking at your camera more, it gives more of a feeling that you're talking to them directly. All right, I could keep talking forever, so I'm going to shut up now.
All right, everyone, last chance to put your name and organization in the chat box. If you have not done so, many of you have. Thank you so much. I love the fact that everyone was so engaged and really joining in. Again, make the connections in your schools, with your students, with your families, in order to be very effective when it comes to not just your mandatory advisory meetings, but with any virtual meetings or just physical meetings that you have to have to do our job and do it well. Tom, thank you so much. You are so engaged and you're awesome. And I love
Thank
seeing
you.
everyone's faces on here. And momentarily, they're going to send us back to the main lobby where we'll close it off. And again, I just want to say deeply, I love the fact that everyone took some time to be part of the symposium and being able to engage, especially during the times that we're in now. So Laura, I'm glad you were in my room, and it's great seeing everyone. See you in the main room.
Oh, I can't. You're muted.
Sorry. I was like, it's just you and me. Everyone decided to stay in the room.
That's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
It
Well,
shows there's 7 participants here, but I only see you.
oh, that's interesting.
We're in some freaky. We're in. It's like, what's that show? Lost.
Oh, lost? Yeah. We got people coming in. Yay. Hi, Charles. All right, Laura's in. All right, everyone's coming back. That's great. Okay, there we go. Tom, thank you so much again. You did a great job.
You were a great co-host. Thank you.
I see a lot of people got kicked out, so I'm just admitting them in.
We totally have to give Jorge like a virtual hug.
All right, welcome back, everybody. While we wait for people to join us from the various breakout rooms, it looks like it went pretty decently from what I saw in the spaces. I saw folks engaged. I saw a lot of cameras on, so shout out to all of you. I'm impressed. It's been a while. I think almost every single room had the majority of the cameras on, so shout out to all of you for that. We do want to, Alita got her internet back, so we want to bring her up to the stage. But before we do that, I just want to make sure that everybody's back into the main space. So let's just give it, Alita, are you there? Because I'm just going to hand it off to you now.
Yeah.
See if she's back. All right, there she is. Look at that. Verizon came through. Looking HD. All right, Alita, it's all yours.
Just want to say glad to see everyone. So glad to interact with you guys in this space. Sorry about my technical difficulty earlier, but I'm here as always, and the Technical Assistance Resource Center always here for you guys. Good to see you.
All right. On that note, we are going to pass it off to the MC with the most, the person that has carried us through this entire process. Listen, you know, Felicia said a lot of things about me, but